All right, fourth grade, so you have your first printed 3D project and it's going to be a weather vane. So you're going to open up your tinkercad account, sign in, and you're going to create a new project. So you should have a blank work plane. My work plane already has my weather vane on it to give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So I've already printed the base for your weather vane, and you're going to print the top part of your weather vane that will spin with wind. So to do this, this is what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna show you how to make it. You're gonna need to start with a box, so bring the red box onto your work plane, and you are going to make your box 10 millimeters high by 100 millimeters long. Oops, that's wrong. Here we go. 10 millimeters wide by 100 milliliters long. There we go. And then you're going to click on the top, and that's going to tell you how tall it is. You need it only 6 millimeters tall. All right, so now you see that it's not very tall. And you're going to then take the roof, the green roof, and you are going to rotate it. Let's see, you gotta play with which arrow it's gonna be. Okay. You're gonna rotate it so that it's on its side. It's gonna be that arrow that's on the left side, and you gotta tilt it so it's at 90. Now it's been tilted, and I need to take that height, and I also need to make it 6 millimeters high. And then this side, I'm going to make 32 millimeters wide, and this side I'm going to make 16 millimeters. All right, so now I have my triangle, and I need to make sure it's above my work plane. So this black triangle, we'll bring it up. I need to make sure that this over here says 0, and that means it's flat on my work plane. Now I'm going to spin it around so that it is ready to get lined up over here. I'm going to line it up with this red rectangle. Let's see. So I want to center it. So I'm actually going to click and drag over this, and I'm going to align it here in the middle. So I'm going to align here on this side. That's the only side I need to align. I'm going to click off of that, and you'll see that it's aligned perfectly in the center. Then I'm going to click this. I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to drag this by hitting shift. I can drag it down. I won't have to realign it because the shift button is going to keep it in line. And I'm going to drag it to the other end of my weather vane pole. So now when I click over this, I'm actually going to group it so I have this bottom portion. Okay, so there it is. It's right here, and everything should be 6 millimeters high. And then I want to check this. This is 112. That's great. I am not going to print something that's more than 115 milliliters long or wide. So 112 is perfect. That's under 115. We're good to go with that. Now you can design whatever you want up above your arrow, but it needs to be something that's centered. If it's something that's really heavy, maybe on this side, then it's not going to work. It needs to be something that's centered, and that could be tall. So what I did is I just decided that I wanted mine to be a gear, and that I was going to make it, let's see, and I was going to make it say steam. So I just go over here and I found a gear. You can click on other things and look. Featured shape generators, or some people have gotten really creative and tried to make a dog or something like that. So I'm just going to click this here, bring it here, and I'm going to make it pretty big because I want to be able to write steam. But I do have to remember that this has to be 6 millimeters tall. So this middle button is going to check how tall it is. Perfect. It's 6 millimeters already. And now I want it to be perfectly in the center. So I'm going to click over the whole thing. I'm going to drag it, and I need to align it, and I want to align it here in the center. So I align it there. Perfect, now it's down, and then I'm going to just drag it down a little bit so that it's on, there we go. Then I can click over here back to my basic shapes. I'm going to add text. You could write your name in whatever shape you pick. I'm just going to write this word steam. I can change the font. Here we go. And I'm actually going to make this a hole so that it engraves it. And let's see, I want it to engrave. I'm going to have it engrave 4, but I need to lift it off the ground a little bit. Lift it off the ground by +2. Okay, so now it's off the ground. And I'm going to have to make it smaller to be able to fit onto that gear shape. Oops. Got that. So I'm going to drag it on here. Oh, it's still too big. And click over here. Zoom in. Need to make it a little bit smaller. Let me make sure I'm on that. All right, so I want to center it on this. So I'm just going to highlight this and the word steam. Here we go, steam, oops. Steam, and then the gear. And then I'm going to hit a line, and I just want these to be aligned within each other. There we go, perfect. Okay, now it's exactly how I want it to be, and I am going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to group this all together so that it prints together, group there. Awesome, okay. Now, the last thing I have to do is I need to make a hole in this so that my wooden rod will fit through. I'm gonna click on a cylinder, and your cylinder, you're going to want it to be, click on this, you're going to want it to be 40 millimeters high. You might not use all 40, but that'll help you. And then you want it to be 4 millimeters by 4 millimeters here. Okay, now it's going to be really skinny. That's fine. And you're going to have to tilt it on its side. That'll be the tricky part. Oops. So then getting it to rotate. Here we go, I'm gonna rotate it 90 degrees, and then I also have to spin it, not that way. I now need to spin it this way, 90 degrees. Oops, that's not the right way. Now I need to spin it this way, 90 degrees. Perfect, okay. Now, this is going to be tricky because this is 4 millimeters, and you need to bring it down so that it is 1 millimeter off the ground. So here you go, 1 millimeter off the ground. Then this is 4 millimeters, so that's 5 millimeters, and then you'll have 1 millimeter up here. Okay, so it's there, 1 millimeter off the ground, and then I'm going to just slide it up here into my cylinder, and I don't want it to go all the way out, or else there won't be a stopping point for that wooden rod to go. I actually need to bring it back a little bit. If I take this and make it transparent, solid, transparent, you can see how high that cylinder is in it. That's perfect. I don't want it to come out the top. It will not work if it's out the top, okay? Let me turn that back to a solid. Uncheck transparent, and I just need to make sure that that is 100% centered. So I'm going to click over everything, and I'm going to align, center, perfect. Now everything is centered. I'm going to finish by grouping, and now this is complete. That hole is going to be where my wooden rod will go through, and it is there, and I am ready to send to the printer. So make sure that first, you can call it weather vane, that's fine. You have weather vane here, and then I need your first and last name. So Jackie Wheeler, and then I'm going to say, let's say I'm in Miss Word's class. So I just type in my teacher's name. Okay, I need that full name here. So it's Jackie Wheeler, and then Ward. I have my first and last name and my teacher. It's really important that you have first and last name and teacher. Once that is done, you're going to click the plus button over here, generate link, hit copy. Okay, that's copied, and I'm going to turn it in. I hit open. I'm going to hit add link right-click on the green line, paste my link, add the link, and then I need to turn it in. Turn in. Before turning in though, I do want you to check a couple things. This weather vane, I made this little diagram for you. The weather vane needs to be under 150 millimeters wide, under 75 millimeters high, and can only be 6 millimeters deep. Okay, so check and make sure that is the measurements of your weather vane. It can be smaller than that, but it cannot be any bigger than that. I'm going to be checking that when you've turned it in. So once it's been turned in, you need to check back. This is an example of a different project, but once I have graded it and checked it to see if it's ready to be printed, it will say returned on your project. All you have to do is click open again, and you'll see your grade up on this top right-hand corner. 4 out of 4 means it was perfect and it's ready to be printed, and I will be printing it soon. If you do not get a 4 out of 4, if you get a 1, a 2, or 3 out of 4, I'm going to leave you a comment as to how you can improve it, because I will not print until your project is a 4 out of 4. If you receive a 0, that means your link did not work and you need to resubmit it. But again, if you get a 1, 2, or 3, check down here under your link and look for my comment as to how you can improve it. If you have any questions, I am here for help, and let me know. I look forward to seeing how you create your weather vane and the unique design you put on top of your weather vane.